Arnold, like every single one of my elite talent, my elite athletes, never asks, can I do that? I'm tired, never says I'm tired. Always wants to strive to be and do their very, very best. And so I merely take all of that information, that experience, and bring it home to us so that we can all access the same ability because it resides within us.
Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today I have a good fortune to be with Arthur Samuel Joseph with us. Now, if you don't know who Arthur is the founder of Vocal Awareness and the legendary voice coach behind leaders and celebrities like Tony Robbins, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and many more. So, Arthur, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me on, Atul.
Okay, so how do you get started and how do you ended up becoming a voice coach?
May I play with you first before answering
Yes,
that
you can.
question?
You
Okay.
can.
Because you speak so quickly, I get whiplash.
My God.
Just like many in your generation. I call you guys the fingers and thumbs generation because your fingers and thumbs go so fast, so does your mouth. And so I'm a communication strategist, and I'll answer your question in a moment after I ask you to sit as a young man of stature. Feel extraordinary about yourself, Atul. Sit in stature
Okay, like this.
and just whatever feels comfortable. We have 7 rituals in this work. The first one is to say thank you to Source. So within yourself, simply acknowledge a profound moment for yourself and say thank you internally, not out loud.
Okay, done.
And notice, I know, I'm watching, and notice your room just got quieter. The first thing you did was breathe. Now we're going to breathe before you ask me your question again. Ask me about coaching or whatever you want, but I'm going to help you breathe, and it will take 5 seconds. And don't exhale it. You're going to speak at the peak of the exhale. Here we go. Slow. I'm going to guide it. Stay with me. Slowly, deeper, deeper, deeper. Inhaling deeper, deeper, more, much, much more. And your question.
So, how do you get started and how do you ended up becoming a voice coach?
Now, did you notice that was different than before?
Yes,
And did you notice you were actually listening to yourself a little bit? So the
yes,
question sounded more thoughtful.
yes,
Yes, and yet all I did was ask you to breathe. So you live in a culture, stereotypically speaking, that honors mastery. I've taught many profound Indian teachers, profound masters in Ayurveda and other great teachers. Vocal awareness is mastery. And so I remember one Ayurvedic master saying to me the story about he was a physician, and every single day for a year, he walked to a neighboring village to see if this man would be his teacher. And every single day, the man sent him back until a year later, he said, all right, now you can come to study with me. You know those types of stories. I'm the only person in the world that teaches mastery in communication. And so I began as a classical singer. I have a master's in voice. It just kept morphing. And I'm a very deep listener. And so God gave me a lot of gifts. And my phone rings and it's so and so, an email and it's so and so. It just kept building with no marketing, no advertising. It just happened. And with my birthday in a couple of weeks, it begins my 2nd year of teaching. And you've been to my website and you mentioned a couple of people that I've trained. I've written 7 books and 2 are about to come out this month and next. And I teach empowerment through voice. I teach a great number of elite athletes around the globe, Olympic gold medalists, Hall of Fame champions, and virtually any sport you can think of, frankly. In their skill set, everybody encourages them. They see them as a child with real talent, and so they encourage this talent, perhaps. But in our daily life, us normal people, when we start to feel good about ourselves and want to assert ourselves, people may say to us, oh, don't act like that. You sound arrogant. Well, you shouldn't say that. What will people think? And so if I say to you, Atul, vocal awareness is extraordinary work, and I hope you change your life in moments. Now that's stupid and arrogant. But what if I said, Atul, vocal awareness is extraordinary work. It can help you change your life in moments. That's not arrogant. That's my truth.
Mhm.
And so I'm teaching empowerment through voice. I want all of us, I want to help millions of people to achieve their own enlightenment, enjoy their own empowerment, and step into the mastery that is possible. That is your actual birthright, without people taking your power from you.
Okay, so was there a particular early
I didn't
student or
understand. I didn't understand you because you didn't breathe.
okay? Yes. So was there a particular early student or client's success that am I doing good?
That's wonderful, man.
Okay. Okay, so let's try again. Was there any particular early student or client success story that has a huge impact on your vocal awareness?
Well, that's a thoughtful question. I've been asked that before. Not necessarily early, but one of my favorite early celebrity clients was Arnold Schwarzenegger. I taught Arnold for 9 or 10 years, 8 or 9 years, something like that. From the movie Conan out through Twins. He taught me something that a champion does it different. And it's a theme I've developed over the years. In all of these Hall of Fame and gold medalists that I've taught, someone taught them every single thing they do. Everything. Otherwise, they don't have a career. But who teaches us to be ourselves? Nobody. We just sort of show up. This work teaches us how to be ourselves. So in working with Arnold, I learned this concept of the champion because I've also taught, I have 33 students in the Pro Football Hall of Fame alone in the National Football League. And among those, and there are only less than 500 in the Pro Football Hall of Fame out of the thousands of men who have played that sport. In those less than 500, less than 50 are first ballot. They get on the first try. And I've taught about a third of those. And so I come back to Arnold and this because it's one thing to have a career. It's great that you made it into the National Football League. It's great that you made the Olympic team. But to stand on that top box with the gold medal, to be a first ballot, that's a whole other conversation. And Arnold, like every single one of my elite talent, my elite athletes, never asks, can I do that? I'm tired, never says I'm tired. Always wants to strive to be and do their very, very best. And so I merely take all of that information, that experience, and bring it home to us so that we can all access the same ability because it resides within us. Does this make any sense to you, Atul?
Mhm, mhm.
And so I remember years ago when you ask about an early experience, and this would be helpful for your listeners, your viewers. Commissioner of the National Football League in America, his name is Roger Goodell, and he wrote the foreword for one of my books. And I was introduced to Roger by the owner of one of the football teams in America, the Dallas Cowboys. He came to me and said, we want you to train the commissioner. And so I go to their office on Park Avenue, New York City, one Tuesday morning at 11. And Roger is a very left brain, very analytical, very bottom line, no nonsense individual. I begin my work, and I'm exaggerating right now. I'm just being flippant for a moment. Okay, Roger, let's say thank you to God. Let's allow a conscious living breath. Let's warm up. Let's put ourselves in stature. All of the techniques of my work to this left brain individual. I could have been out on my tushy, out on my butt in 12 minutes. Roger could have kicked me out of that room and called the team owner and said, who was this jerk? Why did you waste 12 minutes of my life? But that didn't happen. We actually spent 2.5 hours together in our first meeting. And we began to build a real relationship. And the point of my sharing that story for everybody who's watching or listening is we're afraid to be us. We wonder what everybody's thinking about us. If I had gone in there like that needy, scared, oh my God, I'm sitting with the commissioner of the National Football League, one of the most successful business leaders on the planet. If I was dazzled by any of that or intimidated by any of that, I would have been a snack and out the door. But that's not how I am. I claim my power. I go in as Arthur in the integrity of the work. And so even though Roger didn't understand a lot of what I was doing, he trusted the messenger, me. And then we began to build a relationship because he knew how truthful and authentic I was. Rather than trying to please somebody, I hope you like me, it never works. So just be who you are and show up as that. Am
Okay,
I making
Arthur.
sense, Atul?
Yes, you're making sense.
Good.
Okay, so there many times someone's speaking and we can listen to them for hours, but
Yes,
someone is saying and talking about the same topic, but we don't
great.
want to
I hear you
listen.
now. So if I say to you, it's really nice spending 20 minutes with you today, Atul. Thank you so much for having me on. Versus, it's really nice spending 20 minutes with you today, Atul. Thank you for having me on. Now, the first one is bogus, but we don't know why. It didn't occur to you in the moment that I raised the pitch of my voice, I made it higher. I spoke too fast. All that you got, I was not trustworthy. The second one, it didn't occur to you in the moment that I breathed, I relaxed, my pitch was lower, and I slowed down. All you got was that I was more genuine. So when we listen to somebody for hours, it's in part due to the pitch, the resonance, the pace of their voice, the quality of their sound. When we don't, we look at so many politicians, I don't want to go there. So this whole goal of integrity and authenticity, it permeates everything we do, everything we do. Years ago, I had the privilege of teaching an actor named Sean Connery. He was the original James Bond in the movies. He began as the singer back in the 40s in Scotland, I believe. But that voice is so beautiful that you just get sucked into it, the sound of this beautiful voice. When I trained Angelina Jolie, who is a noted actress, the power of her voice, the power of her presence, you felt her honesty, her truth, and her integrity. There's no camouflage. So when we reveal ourselves through our voices, I want people to understand that our voice is a brand, our voice is an identity. And just as I said, somebody taught an athlete how to dribble a basketball, but nobody even taught us how to breathe. Nobody taught us how to warm up the voice at all. But you don't know one athlete from cricket to football who doesn't stretch for 20 minutes to half an hour before playing sports. There's not one person on the planet. But stretching is fundamental to your competition. But who warms up their voices before they speak? I see you got a lovely guitar in the background. You don't practice your scales. And do you sing also?
Nope.
You just play.
Actually, I used to play.
Well, you should get
Yeah,
back to it.
maybe after a few years.
Yes.
Okay, so what are three simple daily habits anybody can use to immediately start improving their
Wonderful,
speaking voice?
wonderful question. Wonderful. Well, I'd like first to ask people to go to my website, vocalawareness.com, because all the rituals, the structure that I teach are there. One of my books is called Leadership Mastery, 7 minutes of leaders communication mastery, 7 minutes a day, 7 minutes a day. I can't remember the title of my own book, but 7 minutes a day. You can do this work in 7 minutes a day. And it begins by getting in a mirror and saying thank you. It begins by allowing this conscious, loving breath deeper, deeper. No, that's a bird breath. Deeper, deeper. Keep calm. Yes. Begins by being a man or a woman of stature, feeling extraordinary about who you are, feeling this golden thread pull you taller, taller, taller. You feel once again how you become quieter inside and the room quieter around. Those are three basic things to do. The last thing I will share is create what I call your persona statement. That word means through the sound. How do I want to be known? We didn't even know we had a choice. So choose how you want to be known and then practice embodying that person. Or at the beginning of a new year, create your vision for how you want to be known and for what you want to achieve. Then every single day for 7 days, practice what I've just said. At the end of the 7 days, do it again and again. But really, and I have on my website, I just created a wonderful new program called New Form of Mastery Journal. I share it because it has all my principles and teaching and everything in it, but it also has a calendar for 365 days in the year. And on each page is an inspiring thought and place for putting all your goals and your commitments to yourself. And so you can track your life there and make it happen. Thank you for your thoughtful questions, Atul.
That's great, Arthur. And thank you so much
Nope.
for spending. Okay, let's try again.
Deeper, deeper, loving, deeper. Too fast. Too fast. Just loving and deeper, deeper.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And it was really great chatting with you.
Thank you for letting me play in your sandbox. Be well and have a wonderful, wonderful life. God bless.
Thank you so much.